This is Fr Kabelo from the Dice of Kimberley. Of course, I'm here doing what we do best on Radio Veritas, Good News for a Change, the only Catholic radio station that gives you good news for a change. What an exciting moment that I have as our main guest for today, Fr Markus Hau from Germany. Good evening, Father.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Actually, I should have said Buonasera.
Buonasera anche. Guten Abend in German.
Yes. Wow. We are with Fr Markus, of course, from Germany. He is the provincial of Sacred Heart of Jesus. And of course, he's here for the main reason. But before we go to the main reason, can you just give a brief background about yourself, Father?
Yeah, you heard my name, Markus Hau. I'm born 1974 in the western part of Germany. I became a Pallotine 95, priest 2004. I studied, we have our own university, our congregation in Germany. So I studied there in our university, theology, philosophy first, sure. I was in Rome for a year. That's the reason why we can speak a little bit Italian also.
Yes.
Yeah, after my ordination, I had a year of youth work because we have youth centers in Germany. And then the normal way as a priest, I was an assistant priest. And then I became a parish priest in the south of Germany. It's where we have our provincial house. Friedberg, close to Munich. For you all, Bayern, Munich, you know.
Yes.
So it's not so far from us. And I was a parish priest for 10 years.
Yes.
So for people very often in Africa, they say, oh, for 10 years cannot be. In Germany, it's quite usual to stay a bit longer. And then 5 years ago, my provincial called me and said, have a look, we are looking for a new mission secretary.
Yes.
We are a worldwide province, and the mission secretary is a little bit the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Oh, yes.
So that was a little bit for me the reason to go into the wide world. And last year we had our elections, and now I am the new provincial.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then before we enjoy and celebrate your current responsibility as the Minister of International Relations with the Pallotines, let us go back a little bit, your upbringing and then your early years when you're a teenager, finishing your school, the desire to become a priest. You could have chosen any congregation, but why particularly did you join the Pallotines?
That's an interesting question. I mean, after school, I went to the military service. There I had the idea, I need God in my life. And it was a vocation, it was a crisis of my life. And I heard him very strong. So then I decided first to study law, but after 1 year, I stopped it. And then I checked the different congregation and the Diocese of Cologne, where I'm from. And for me, directly, the diocese was, for me, the idea to stay alone in a parish house, a presbytery, I thought, no, I need a community. So then I checked the Benedictine fathers, and I loved it to pray very early in a solemn monastery. Germany, we have these old ones, and it was really wonderful. And then I visited the novitiate of the Pallotines. Why the Pallotines? Because in my hometown, the parish priest was a Pallotine. Yeah? But my idea was not directly to become a Pallotine, but then I visited the novitiate, and the first impression was, here is a place where I can live. It was, I have to be honest, it was not so much Vincent's Pallotti, it was not so much the idea, it was the impression there is a community of young people, young men, and I can be there. Yeah? And then in the time, during the novitiate and so on, then I felt, it was the right decision, because our founder, Vincent Pallotti, is really a wonderful personality, and he's, for me, really an example for my personal life. Yeah.
Indeed, we celebrated the influence that has shaped your formation and your priesthood from your founder, Vincent Pallotti, to make that decision that I could have been anywhere, but I'm here as a member of the Pallotines. And they came to Africa. And like you said, Pallotines is an international congregation. Where in Africa was the congregation first arrived? Where, actually?
It's also the starting point of our province in Germany. In that time, it was not possible to found a new congregation in Germany. The only way was to take over a mission. And 1890, we had the possibility to go to Cameroon. That was our first mission. And then we were there only 26 years.
Oh, yes.
During First World War, Germany lost, and then we were expelled from Cameroon, 1916, during the war. And they were sent out of this country, and they went back to Limburg, where our mother house is, the old mother house of the North German province. And then they stayed there for several years, and it was really for them a depression, what to do now. Because their zeal was really to go into the mission. And then 22 was the new call from the Vatican, South Africa.
And the move from Cameroon, of course, to South Africa, where the first Pallotines, they arrived, of course, in Cape Town. How challenging, as we have had, all the information that has been documented in the archives of the Pallotines. What did they meet? Whom did they meet? What did they meet? How was their, arrival at first? Because I know as a missionary, you don't know the culture, you don't know the people, you don't know the language, but you come with something very much important, the message of hope, the gospel of Christ. How did they do it?
And they came with the longing to come back to Africa. I mentioned it also in the church. In the diary, Bishop Henneman wrote, "Finally, I'm back to Africa." So they all were, except one or two, I think, they were old missionaries from Cameroon. So they knew Africa before. And the beginning in Cameroon, 1819, was a very hard one. A lot of them died in their early years, directly in the first, second year. So compared to that, the beginning in South Africa was not so hard. Not the life conditions were much better than in Cameroon. So they came by ship from Hamburg. The Vangani was the name of the ship. Yeah, it was this, this time of this big, how do you call it, cruises?
Yes.
So it took long. It took months to come to South Africa. They arrived in Cape Town. Then 4 days it took to go to Oudtshoorn, was the first place. And let me say, I think they were not so much shocked about life conditions. It was more from Cameroon. They knew a lot of people, directly full churches, and this. South Africa was more a little bit, they were disappointed to see the Oudtshoorn region in that time empty, wasteland. What can we do here? That was more their question. So what we have to do here?
And they've settled, they've started to plant the seed of faith. I remember the arrival of missionaries, first missionaries in Africa. They didn't only preach the gospel. They were so much interested about the humanitarian aspect of life, of human beings, to help with education, the upkeep. And I believe that's what Bishop Hermans did with his companions.
And it was, they had discussions before in Rome. And they said, have a look, there are missions in South Africa, but they only take care of white people, Protestant churches and so on.
Yes.
So it was a different thing. And now they said, have a look, your goal is really to go to South Africa and take care of the colored and black, for sure also the white, but to be there for all people. And then they started to be with the people. And you never can bring, till today, you can never bring the faith alone. The faith means then you stay with the people and you see what they need. If people are hungry, then you have to give them something. If they have bad life conditions, or you see the children have no formation, till today it's the same. You have to give them faith and formation, faith and medication. And that was from the beginning on our mission. So they started not only with parishes, sure, also with parishes, but directly with schools, hospitals. Then they invited sisters. We have Pallotine sisters.
Yes.
They always are a great help till today. In that way, nothing has changed. So they worked in the hospitals. They opened hostels for children and all these things. Or infirmaries. Yeah.
We have mentioned the first group to arrive, led, of course, by Bishop Henneman.
Yeah, you have a nice picture.
And we are so much excited to be housed or to record this interview in the administration of Father Tulani in the Cathedral of Christ the King. And they managed to preserve this beautiful image. Today, you are celebrating 100 years.
Yeah.
What an exciting moment, Fr Markus.
An exciting moment, a touching moment. And I'm very grateful with all the Pallotines worldwide, I think. We celebrated 2 months ago our General Assembly, and also there we celebrated this anniversary here, this jubilee in South Africa. And it's really, we have also to thank God, 100 years, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of challenges, World War II, and crisis, a lot of dangerous things happened. But we have to say thank you, God guided us through all this. And this is for me a wonderful thing also, to have confidence in the future. Because now we all know the world is changing. And then every day in the news we hear a crisis there, pandemic there, war. We in Europe now, we are faced to this war in Ukraine. So all these crises of today, and when I look back now to celebrate really with joy and gratitude this day, then I have also confidence that the Lord is with us.
We are having this beautiful moment where we celebrate 100 years of the Pallotines since they arrived in South Africa in 1922. And of course, our guest is Fr Markus, who is a provincial. And today you were sharing, or you were the homilist of today, and alongside with your confrere, I'm talking about His Lordship Bishop Paul Vanqa, who is, Pallotine, and of course, how exciting this, because we are looking back, but at the same time, the leadership of the church now is one of our own. And it happens to be a local vocation coming from the seed that you have planted.
Absolutely. And that was from the beginning on also their idea of the first missionaries, Bishop Henneman. They directly invited catechists also from the country. And then their idea was in Cameroon and also in South Africa to have vocations from the soil here, from South Africa. And for sure, let me say, you can see there is a change now. You asked, we have a bishop now, Bishop Sipivo. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, and he is a son of South Africa. He is son of South Africa.
Right, yes.
And this is for us really a joy, and it shows a little bit the change. The German time, let me call it like this, is over. Because we have no longer so many vocations. And the old confreres, a lot of them died, and some went back to Germany. They live now in our retirement home in Limburg. The Limburg house is a big house for the missionaries. And their heart is still here. And to see now, after all these years, we had these famous bishops here. If you check the Oudtshoorn diocese or the Queenstown diocese, you will find very famous name, not only Henneman, but Bishop Hippel or Gottschalk or Rosenthal or Rosner or Lehnhoff. So there is really a gallery of white Germans. And now to have Bishop Sipivo, I mean, this is a new spring for the Pallotine presence. And also, let me say, it shows we are living now in a different time. We are living now in a different time. The old time of the missionaries, in the old sense, is over. Now South Africa is a stable church, for sure, with challenges. But we, with the bishop and also with our new young confreres, it is a totally new community. And this is enriching for me. It's an international community. We have South Africans, Malawian, one from Cameroon. We have Nigerians. We have people from Lesotho. So it is a challenging international community, and I like it.
And interesting indeed, as we celebrated the centenary, now yielding those fruits, those were planted by the pioneers, men and women, who cherished the spirituality, the charism of Vincent Pallotti. And what I saw today during Mass, a group of young seminarians who dedicated their lives to follow these footsteps. And then with regard to the vocations in African countries where you have been traveling, do you think the message of St. Vincent has reached many people, especially young people, to accept this vocation to become religious?
Let me say, we have to think about what is really the charism of Vincent Pallotti. And the interesting idea was, first, not to be a founder of a congregation. It was not his idea. No? His idea first was, have a look. In his time, the church was also in a crisis, like in Europe today. And his idea was then, every single person, every baptized is an apostle, has his own vocation. So it means we want really to empower and to encourage every Christian, every Roman Catholic, every faithful to live his faith. And then the Lord calls. He gives the vocation. And let me say, the idea of Vincent Pallotti, I think here in Africa, we are starting with the idea. What does it mean for the parishes and so on? And I think this is very attractive for us in Europe. You know, the church in Europe, in a way, is going down. We are in a crisis. And we need all the people. We need the faithful with their gifts, with their charism to share with us that the church has a new life and is vibrant again. And I hope the same for Africa. I hope the same for Africa. And I can see our young confreres, the young students, they love very much these ideas of Vincent Pallotti. And I mean, he is a mystic too. The fundament of everything is his relationship to God. He said, God is the infinite love. That's everything. He said, I'm nothing. I'm sin and nothing. Not so easy to understand. But with God, he really mentioned he's always giving me his infinite love. And that's what we try to show the people. Have a look. God is really a power in our life and in your life, if you like.
And today's celebration, 100 years, there's a legacy. This milestone has been marked with this huge celebration and many activities that transpired. Of course, it started with the celebration of the Eucharist, and then, we came together to share the meal together. And there was a very significant activity of, cutting of the cake.
Ceremonial.
Yes. And then you went to the graveyard. To offer a prayer to the men and women, particularly those who followed the footsteps of St. Vincent. And what went through your mind when you were there, when you saw the graves of people who committed their lives, they dedicated their lives to what we have today celebrating hundreds? What was going through your mind and your thoughts during that moment?
Touching moment, because I prepared myself before I came to South Africa and studied the history. And then now I see now the graveyards, the graves, the tombs of all these deceased members. And I can feel their life was precious. They gave something. No one is perfect. Also this conference, no one was maybe perfect, but they all gave something. And so now when I saw the names, I saw, he worked in Lumku Institute. He worked in the hospital. There was also a doctor, she from Austria. She helped that in the beginning to build up this hospital. So I was touched. Now, if you have the history in mind, then you know all these people. And it was good to visit the graves, to say also a prayer, and I'm absolutely sure that the Lord knows all their names in the Book of Life.
And you came in here, never thought in your life that you would come and offer such a beautiful, homily and you also enjoy this moment. What does it mean to you as a person, as a priest, as a way forward, a new enthusiasm, a new courage to your ministry as a priest, at the same time as one of the members of Pallotines who I can say we've got some kind of an influence in terms of decision making regarding the way forward of the congregation. What can you say about that?
Personally, for me, it means we have to go forward with the whole congregation, with our province. Mm-hmm. We are in a transformation in the different countries. It's a challenging time, and we need to face in the world of today. So what does it mean? Not to rest. It does not mean, have a look, we have nice houses here, so we can rest. No, it means what I asked also in the homily. What do we see here in the reality of South Africa, of the world, of today's world? What can we see here? And what I can learn from the missionaries in the beginning, they saw the needs of the people and they wanted to be with them. And this is the challenge for today. It's always a temptation to say, have a look, for the good of the society. We stay in our convents or whatever. No, this is not Vincent's Pallotti. This is not the gospel. So I would like really to feel again in the community, in our society, this spirit to go out and to see what is important to do here today. In the name of God.
In the name of God. My last and final question to you, Fr Markus, as we are enjoying our conversation. I wish we had more and all the day and all the time to talk about what you believe or to love, which is the work of Christ under the shepherd, under the direction of Vincent Pallotti. Now you'll be going back. This is my question. You'll be going back to Germany, and of course you're going to meet many people. You will continue with your traveling, and after celebrating or participating on this Centenary Celebration, what do you take with you to share it with everyone that you meet anywhere in the world from today?
I bring a candle from today to the old missionaries in Germany, the two brothers still there. Mm-hmm. I will, together with them, I think we will also say a prayer. Mm-hmm. But then I bring the enthusiasm of a new beginning in South Africa. Mm-hmm. It was always for us, for the Heart of Jesus province, an important entity, Africa. And so few years ago, we thought maybe they are going down. But now I'm going back with the spirit of young members. I'm going back with the feeling it's a good new beginning.
Yeah, good. That's the enthusiasm to continue with the work of course, Vincent Pallotti here in South Africa as we celebrate a centenary, 200 years since they came for the first time in 1992. And of course, we had a lovely conversation with Fr Markus Hau, the provincial of the Heart of Jesus, Secretary of Jesus Province. And what an honor to have you, Father. And thank you so much. We wish you all the best as Radio Veritas on your endeavors, and may God keep you safe and protect you and keep you nourished on his vineyard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of this interesting conversation and a lovely and inspiring interview with Fr Markus as he's going back to Germany after participating on the Centenary Celebration that took place, of course, here in Kumane, Queenstown Diocese, and of course under the leadership of his Lordship, Bishop Sipiwo Paul Mvana. I am Father Kabelo. Thank you so much. Radio Veritas, good news for a change.